Hello everyone, here's an example from Chapter 9 homework, test for a single population mean. And so the commercial for the new Meat Man barbecue claims that it takes 9 minutes for assembly. A consumer advocate thinks that the assembly time is higher than 9 minutes. The advocate surveyed 15 randomly selected people who purchased the Meat Man barbecue and found that their average time was 10.1 minutes. The standard deviation for this group was 2.2 minutes. What can be concluded? The alpha is 0.05 level of significance. 2 levels of significance, just level of significance. All right, so first part A, it's asking us which test we should use. Okay, so if we read through the problem, we can see that we know the sample standard deviation. We don't know the population standard deviation. Also, our sample size is fairly small, it's less than 30, so we need a t-test for means. All right. Okay, so we have our null and alternate hypothesis. So the claim is that it takes 9 minutes. So you're going to say mu equals to 9. That would be your null hypothesis. And the advocate is saying that the survey found the average time was 10.1, right? So, which is higher. So the consumer advocate thinks that the time is higher. So that's the alternate hypothesis. So you're going to have mu is bigger than 9. All right, cool. So now we have to do the calculations. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do StatCrunch and also with the calculator. All right, so here's StatCrunch right here. So the way you do it in StatCrunch is you go to Stat and Calculators and T-Stats, Stats and T-Stats with one sample, okay? And with summary, okay? Because we have the mean and standard deviation from the sample, that's the summary. Okay, so we're gonna click that. So we need the sample mean, which is given as 10.1. Okay, let me underline those things. All right, so this is the sample. So 10.1 is the mean, and 2.2 is the standard deviation, and n is 15. Okay. So 10.1 was the mean, 2.2 standard deviation, and sample size is 15. We're going to put our hypothesis. So the null hypothesis is mu is 9. The alternate is that mu is bigger than 9. And we just click compute. And this gives us this results table. Yep. All right. So the problem is now asking me for what is the t-stat and what is the p-value. So we grab that from StatCrunch. So t-stat is 1.936. And the p-value is 0.0366. 0.0366. Okay. All right. And now comes this is the calculation part. Now comes the interpretation. So before I go to the interpretation, let me show you how to do this on the calculator. Okay. So on the calculator, you go to Stat, Tests, and you hit the t-test. All right, we have the stats. Okay, we need to put mu 0, which is the null hypothesis mean, which is 9. All right, you put the sample mean and standard deviation, which is 10.1 and 2.2, n is the sample size. Okay. And here you choose the alternate hypothesis. So we have the alternate hypothesis that mu is bigger than 9. So here it shows mu is bigger than null, the null claim, the null mean. So you're going to choose the one that says bigger than mu0. And then you're going to calculate. Okay, so this gives us the t-stats of 1.936 and the p-value of 0.0366. So either StatCrunch or calculator, you get the same deal. All right, now the interpretation part. The p-value is bigger or less. Okay, so we see that the significance level is 0.05. That relates to 95% confidence, right? So the p-value is less. So p is less than 0.05. Okay. If the p-value is less than the alpha, then you reject the null hypothesis. So you're going to reject the null. Right? And now the conclusion. So if you're rejecting a null, there's sufficient evidence that the alternate hypothesis is supported by the data. Okay, so this will be in this part right here. So the data suggests that the population mean is significantly higher than 9 at alpha equals 0.05. So there is statistically significant evidence to conclude that the population mean amount of time to assemble the meat man barbecue is higher than 9. Okay, so rejecting a null shows sufficient statistical evidence from the data you collected that that advocate claim was true. All right, that's it for this example.